You got it.
Hi, this is the Method Actor Speaks, and today we have the guest, Lisa
Catara.
Catara. Now, Catara, before we really start,
Yes.
I really want, I'm very interested in why Italians change their name, and you have a great reason. I'm going to come and join you.
Why Italians changed it? Why they were changed for
actors. I'm always
actors.
Why you change your name?
Well, I guess it depends. If you're an actor who wants to seem more Italian and your name was butchered in immigration, I suppose you would add an Eddie, Ani, Oni at the end of it.
Yeah, but I mean, your last name is not.
It's not Catara. It's actually Tarantino.
Now, you didn't want to be associated with that name? Or?
Oh, I would love to be associated with Quentin. It wasn't that. It was, the name is taken. It's a very famous name. I didn't want to seem as if I was riding the coattails of anybody with the name that's out there already. But I also wanted to protect, because my family's from Cleveland, and they're easy to find, and I'd like to kind of protect them a little bit from my career. So I just kind of found something that was neither here nor there, ethnically wise. Did I say that right? It wasn't Hispanic, it wasn't Italian. I made it up.
I mean, it sounds great. That's interesting why you would say protect your family. That's interesting. I mean, they're Italian. What do they need protection for?
My family's not mafia.
No, you don't have to be.
They're not. Maybe, I don't know. It's not so much that, but reporters, they find your family, they ask them questions, they get them integrated into your career, and it just becomes, it's too much. My parents are simple people, they're good people. Their privacy means a lot to me.
Well, that's a difference. So privacy, I guess in this business, it's rare that someone wants, I'm really impressed with that you don't want to use the name Tarantino because you want it on your own.
I want to get it on my own.
Yes, that's really, that's nice to hear. In a way, it really is nice to hear.
It is really stupid, probably.
Well,
really stupid.
It might be, because you need all the help you can in this town.
It's true, yeah. And there's
I
so
don't know
many
about
things.
Stupid, but
There's so many things that can get in the way of the success of an actor's career that have nothing to do with their preparation and their talent and their discipline or their work ethic. It's just a difficult career to go.
It really is, and every inch, I mean, and there is I see a lot of actors who's, come from that family, and that name will get them in the door. Doesn't mean they'll get the part. So the name Tarantino.
Well, more likely than not, if they have a family name that's pretty well respected and they're taking classes from the right people, that really kind of is enough for them to get in the door, and possibly work as well. We see that all the time.
Okay.
So kudos to them. But yeah, I'm the only one in my family that's artistic this way. My father's an architect. My mother was a school teacher and then worked for hospitals. There's nobody my sister is a pianist, but that's music and it's a different direction. There's nobody that's really impulsively creative the way that I am in my family, so it's kind of weird, actually.
Now, Italian families, there's two things. They want the daughter to be either a nun or an opera singer.
Well, I'll have to ask my dad about both of those things, because he had 3 girls, and not a single one of us is a nun, if you know what I'm saying. Yeah, no, that's...
Was that the Irish?
Well, and the irony is that my mother is Jewish,
so
God. I come from a Jew-Italian family.
Wow, that's...
My dad didn't have a fighting chance, really. Too much estrogen.
Yeah, well, I tell you the truth, a lot of the Italians and the Irish, there's a lot of John Gotti. Well, you mentioned Mafia.
Yeah.
I mean, his bride is Jewish, and quite a few people. I've always liked Jewish women. Well, that's a different story, a different show.
That is a different story. We'll get into that another time.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the opera, I'm really impressed with that.
I couldn't really say for sure where it came from, except that I grew up in a household where my mother played classical music all the time. I grew up with old music, classical, old 45s, jazz, and it inspired me. My sister played the piano growing up because she was studying to be a pianist. And there's some reason about that kind of music, I gravitated toward it right away. But it wasn't necessarily opera. I played in orchestras too, and then went to school. I went to the Eastman School of Music and got my degree there for opera. But I did so knowing that I wanted to go to Broadway, because that's what I really wanted. That was my first love, was Broadway musical theater. I saw Chicago when I was, I think, 7 years old, and that was it.
Oh, you must have saw one. Did you see with Liza Minnelli was a stand-in? I saw it then.
Oh, wow. Oh, nice.
It's funny. That you should mention that, because I just got this. One of my sisters sent me this photo today.
Look at you.
That was 1976.
I don't know if you guys have seen this, though.
I was on work release from Sing Sing then.
Wow.
And as an actor, I was doing street theater. When you mentioned that play, it's funny that that was me in 1976. I don't know if the camera can see it, but you can go get a mug shot and see that. And keep talking. And I just went in.
Should I sing in this intermission? Do you want me to sing a song or something? You must remember this.
That's it, yes.
A kiss is still a kiss. A sigh is still a sigh. I guess I'm just kind of taking over the show. So I'm actually really fascinated by that photo. That's a moment in time.
That's a nice little voice. I thought I turned it off.
This is the magic of live television. This is why I like it so much. I could say anything right now. I just don't have enough information about John to tell you. But I'm going to get some. And then maybe the next time we come around and do interviews, I'll tell you about it when we answer the phone call. But this conversation never happened.
Okay, what is that? Doing a show right now.
He's doing a show right now. You can take your time. I'm just vamping. It's like a commercial break.
Commercial break, yes. Sorry about that, folks. Another guest was calling to come on. I forgot to turn it. My apologies. But that voice sounded really great.
Well, thank you. I actually haven't sung for over 10 years now.
Why?
Not by choice. I think, you know, things in your life happen and change the course of the direction of things that you are passionate about. For me, I got myself to New York. You know, lower middle class girl from Cleveland, Ohio, got herself to New York to study with the 2 vocal grandmasters, and my intent was to go to Broadway and to star and to sing. And I got my break the morning of 9/11, and obviously that show folded, and you know it became very difficult to work in that industry, and I wound up having to find something else to do, and I just lost my voice, lost my training, and thank God for acting because I love it.
And did you start acting in New York, training, or?
No, well, my acting training, you do. When you do Broadway musical theater and opera, you do train and do theater live on stage.
That's interesting that folks should know. What kind of training is that for the?
It's theatrical training. I mean, it depends on where you go and who your coach is at the time when you're in school.
Yeah.
Some of them believe in the techniques of Meisner and Strasberg. Some of them don't. Some of them use their own methods. It just depends on who you study with. But certainly on Broadway, you're getting live on-course training right in the moment. We perform as if it's the first time we've ever performed every night for 7 to 9 shows a week, and it's different from TV and film. But out here, they consider you green. And you come here from live stage, so it was interesting.
It's interesting because you have the training, they don't.
Yeah.
In New York,
discipline.
Right.
It's a discipline, yeah.
But it is a thing out here that's really. It's not picked up on. I mean, people come out here, they want to be movie stars, not actors.
But why? But why? Why star? Why that?
Because that camera is so addictive.
Is it?
Well, it is. I mean, look at that.
Storytelling is addictive.
That is, too. But
it's
the
so
Jerry Springer
awesome.
Rejects,
they
go on. I mean, anyone who, you know.
Yeah, we appreciate if you don't watch all that reality television. Those are jobs that are not going toward
It really
real
is.
actors.
It really is. But the training, the opera is really interesting me. I love opera.
Oh, good.
You know, ever since I was a little kid and I saw the Great Caruso with Mary Alonso. I got goosebumps.
Traditional tenors, yeah.
Oh, but I like sopranos. You know, I really Maria Freyner, where she came from the same town as Pavarotti. They grew up together, and I saw them in La Boheme. Which is my favorite opera.
It is. Good choice.
I asked Arthur Miller, the writer.
Yes.
I asked him if A View from the Bridge is a play he wrote. I always thought that.
Loosely translated on the same storyline.
Yes, I felt that, and I asked him that. He says, you know, a few people have asked me that, but he says no.
Really?
Yeah, and so it's interesting. But I love the idea because now, when you musical theater, you also, I read where you do stunts and.
I do stunts as well.
Now that's.
Now, I should say, there's a lot of varying levels of stunt people in this industry, and I work with some people that will just knock your sock out how talented they are, and some of them are lifelong disciplinaries of things like martial arts and gymnastics and driving and whatnot. I'm not that level. My stunting is because of the physical acting that I was doing for many, many years. I like those physical roles, victimization roles, guns. You know, I have been around cars my whole life with my dad, so I learned about cars and got myself trained to drive, and I do some driving, but I'm not the caliber of some people that you see in these epic, big budget movies right now. some of the most incredible physical people I've met.
Well, do you belong to the Stuntmen's Association? Or?
Not a man.
And, you know, what do they call it?
I'm not. There is a Stuntmen's Association. There's several different, I call them fraternities inside of the stunt organization. I'm not a member of the Stunt Women's Association.
I mean, there's both?
There's both, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't know. When I say stunt men, I mean...
Very prestigious group, yeah. Those are incredible
I guess today everything is, you know, like there's no more extras or background. Everything is so politically correct and...
Everyone's a precision driver. Yeah. It's really gotten black and white. I hear you talking on this show, too, about a lot of the changes in SAG, and I'm glad that you do that.
Right.
I don't see a lot of actors... First of all, they don't know their contracts. They don't know what SAG's all about, how it started, the fact that it's not a union. They're kind of confused as to what
It's a guild.
It's a guild. It's always been a guild. And now we have what I call a guilderation, because I refuse to call it a union. You know.
It's good terminology for it.
It's a guilderation. It doesn't offer
castrated
you work.
us.
Yeah, well, they cut off a lot of opportunity. I think what people out there don't realize is that the 5% of the actors that they know names for don't represent the entire membership of the Screen Actors Guild or AFTRA. Those people, that's a huge percentage of members who work and have careers working that you don't know about, who aren't named actors. I'm one of them. And they get kind of screwed when it comes to work in this town right now.
No, you're right. And those 5%, most of them are producers now.
And there's a reason for that. I'm sure you know the inside. We don't
we
get into politics here.
Well, it's not only politics. I mean, it's... I find that when I find people like Sally Fields, and I'll say this, and George Clooney, Tom Hanks, who did Band of Brothers with non-union. I mean, these are the people that forgot where they came from. Now it's all about greed and power.
I don't know that. Tom Hanks, for one, seems like a very humble human being who actually does appreciate it. It's a business. What we do is a business.
Well, it's a greedy, but you still, where did you come from?
Of course.
That's one thing. You know, I don't care who you are. If you don't show respect, I have no respect for you.
I don't know that they see the bigger picture. And what I mean by bigger is not the bigger above their heads, but the bigger meaning all of us and how everything affects all of us. I mean, I'm one of those actors right now. I book roles. I'm good enough to book. I've done the work to get those roles and earn them, and then they get given to larger names because the name is a better business decision. Yes. So I don't think they really realize what's happening to trickle down. You know, if I were at that level, I can't say for certain that I wouldn't do the same thing, hiring the people that I want to.
I'm not talking about hiring. I'm talking about they've turned into producers, and they do everything they can to get the money down so that it all stays with them. And not the actor.
Yeah, it's very in-house now. Everything is meant to keep the money in the house, and the house is very large.
And that's what they like selling the union. Members
well, you
out.
See the new contracts are absolutely ridiculous. You can't survive on those anymore.
$100 a day. I mean, $50 a day they're down to, and then the other ones are. You know, I ran for the board. I didn't get there because I was against the merger. And it's funny because everybody I talked to said they voted against it, yet it passed by 85%. I don't know. You know.
I like to play devil's advocate with that because I do understand. I understand not voting for the merger. I completely understand not voting for the merger. There is this idea in my head because SAG had lost so much power over the past, literally 10 years, but mostly the past 5 years.
Yeah, it was given away.
It was given away. And I was wondering, you know, by the next time we got a chance to vote in 2014, how much power would SAG have and what kind of voice would we have to get anything that we needed? And I really truly felt that after would have so much power, it was literally just voting for the lesser of two evils at that time. We were screwed either way. I don't mean to say screwed.
I'm for the merger, don't get me wrong, but I think until they had things straightened out.
Yeah, it's got to get straightened out. There's things that are not right now for a lot of people.
And a lot of it was, it was like the old days, and you know, and I said right at a board, I said right at a board meeting when was, I said, I'm an Italian from New York, and I understand these things. I know about unions, you know. And I know.
But you also understand about
corruption.
Unions.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly.
I know the game, so.
Well, if this industry, which was founded on the mafia, still ran that way, I think we'd be fine. Even
though we would. No,
it would be fine.
Oh yes, everybody be making money. It's like Vegas when the mob ran it, and they came from Cleveland. Everybody enjoyed themselves.
You're welcome, or I'm sorry, depending on how you feel about that.
You know, I mean, there was no crime, no nothing, and when you're out there, you won. I think the machines back then were like almost like 80%. You had a chance of winning on slots and things like that.
Give them a little bit, they come back.
They come back. Now today it's all changed. There's crime, there's corruption, there's everything. And it's like the union. You're right. This country would have been so much better run by organized crime the way it was run. That's not a plug. I know, don't get.
Yeah, we're not endorsing. We're just talking here.
Well, I am in a sense. I have a lot of good friends that I know. Anyway, let's get back to acting.
Yeah.
No, I'm glad you brought that up because I am for the merger down the road. But now we need to.
It's not right just yet.
It's not right. There's too much. There's too much.
Well, you're seeing a lot of human condition at its best here. Here's what I love acting because I love storytelling. I do. I love storytelling. And a lot of what I love about storytelling is also getting invested in the emotions of people who have gone through things that maybe I have not. Getting into the emotions, really truly understanding and empathizing with someone who's been through something so profound, good or bad, and getting in their shoes. That makes me happy. I love those moments when I can literally tell a story and have it believable and feel the way somebody was feeling and understand what they're going through.
How do you make it believable?
You believe it. You find a way to make it completely real for yourself. You justify it.
Let me ask you, because that question I taught in Cleveland for a while. And one thing I ask actors, if you believe it, I'll believe it. And are you I'm a fan. I mean, I believe in, if I am the character, this is what I would do. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of people, they don't believe that or whatever. But I don't know if you
don't believe it. How?
Well, I mean, a lot of people believe the character should come to them instead of the character come to me.
I'm not so sure those are terribly different things depending on what your methods are of getting to that point of symbiotic, the joining of the two.
Well, it's simple. In the simple terms is when I walk into a casting, when you go in, they already know who Starbuck is, say, let's say from The Rainmaker, but they want to see John Solari Starbuck.
Of course.
And that's why I'm saying, if I was Starbuck, how would I play this role? Mm-hmm. How would I feel? So a lot of the identification when you're talking about the story and all this and that, and the biggest gift for an actor is the pain. That's something I learned from like Martin Landau and Shelley Winters. Mm-hmm. Our pain is our gift. Mm-hmm. And we don't, a lot of people don't understand that. How could that be? But it is, it's a gift. That you could fall back. I mean, you said you had a little bit of Meisner and all that you studied with, right?
No, I did not.
Oh.
I mean, at the Eastman School of Music, I did, because to a degree that's what we were taught. But I did not consciously go out and seek the courses, because I have a different method of my own that works for me, several actually, that I use to...
Can you explain it, or is it
I don't have any secrets.
Well, it's, it's fine if you do, because it works for you.
There's little tricks of the mind and things that you can do that aren't worth mentioning. People have little things that they do to go prepare their minds mentally. For me, you mentioned trying to find out how you would play a role. In opera, yes, because those roles were written hundreds of years before anyone, Kiri Takanawa or Jesse Norman, any of those people stepped into the role. So they have to find a way to play that character. Yeah. I think for TV and film, it's a little bit different. You're trying to find out who you are in that character and how that's you.
Right.
So,
that's exactly what I mean.
With the integrity in mind of the writer and what the director wants and everything, of course. But to some degree, I feel a good writer would let you try to find the truth that's you inside of what they've written, because I think that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to connect each other.
Do you have an example of how you do that on something you worked on?
Sure. The project I'm working on right now, which is the play that we mentioned, Daniel in the Deep Blue Sea, that last act for me, that finding, for Roberta, finding myself in Roberta, who, ironically, when I had done all the work and really figured out what she was trying to say and where she was at and what she was afraid of, I've realized we weren't that different. There was a lot of me in her, and there was a hell of a lot of her in me, in current situations in my life and the past and things I've gone through.
Can you elaborate a little more so the audience understands who she was?
Sure. Well, Roberta, you got to see the play. You need to read the play because it's such a complicated interchange between two completely dysfunctional, codependent people.
That's
that
the
it's
cue.
Beautiful. It's so perfectly written.
John Patrick Stanley.
Gorgeous writer. There's in the third scene, the last scene, they wind up trading places where this character of Danny has been, punch first, think later, hard, I don't have to feel, you can't make me feel. Roberta's kind of taken over that persona because he's gotten close to her. And he's exposed a raw nerve inside of her that makes her feel things she doesn't want to take responsibility for. So now there's this situation where, he's in her apartment. They've had this wonderful night of passionate lovemaking and talking about the moon and dreams and, you know, all these things that they're in theory planning for themselves. And she wakes up and goes, oh, that was all bullshit, you know. I was just kidding. It was just because we were in the mall and you got to go. You need to leave. And it's that push and pull of like, what is her real fear? Oh my God, this guy's standing in front of her, making her realize that she wants that dream. She does want that picket fence and those things, and they sound good to her. No, screw him. He's got to go, you know. And it's just trying to get him out of there, trying to get him out so she doesn't have to deal with her own personal issues. It's a perfect scene. Yes. It's perfect.
And you explained it so perfect. It's funny when we were talking about it. You know, he was this real rough guy. I remember the place.
Rough knuckles, brutal.
Zuriga Avenue, the way it takes place.
Yes.
And I always, as an actor, we talk about using things. Now, for me, that tough guy, I remember on Zuriga Avenue, this was back in the 60s, there was this big, tough guy, big guy. And I agreed to fight him on Zuriga Avenue.
Interesting.
And I remember I got there, and this big, tough guy, I was ready to get a beating, you know.
You should have been.
No, I really was. And boom, I hit him once, and the guy started crying.
Yeah.
And I remember, and I just gave this guy such a terrible beating because I was so angry that I was, you know.
Did you get it, though? Did you get why he was crying and where that?
He was really a punk.
He was Danny.
He was Danny.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what I'm saying, and in real life, I gave this guy such a beating for scaring me so much.
Wow.
That it turned out to be nothing.
Well, that's a theory too.
But I mean, no,
whatever you're afraid of, if you run into it, you can dissipate it.
You can dissipate it,
yeah.
But the violence just came right out of me.
Isn't that interesting?
And then when that play, I remember reading it.
You know what's in you.
Zuriga Avenue, boom, the first thing. That's what I mean about things that happen in our life.
Yes, yeah, of course.
That one word, Zuriga Avenue, brought back, oh.
I have a theory about that with people because I'm a philanthropist. I think, my brain's always thinking, and I love human connection. I'm very much one of those spiritual people, not tree-hugging hippie, but, you know, I have my own ways about understanding things. I feel like there isn't too much that disconnects people from each other. We're really pretty much fundamentally all the same. We're trying to do two things. Literally two things. We're either trying to feel good, that joy, feeling good about ourselves, you know, happiness, pleasure, sex, whatever it is, or we're trying not to feel bad, avoiding pain, avoiding frustration, accountability, those sorts of things. It's just two basic human functions. Everybody's built the same. You can find those in every single role. If you look at these roles, they're out there.
Now, when you read a role, now do you consider Danny and the Deep Blue Sea a love story, or a tragedy, or what do you see it as?
Wow, that's a deep question. I don't consider it a love story, unless you're considering self-love a love story. I consider it a sociopathic venture into finding peace and self-love. That's how I see it.
Now, let me ask you a question, okay?
Was that too deep?
No, it's very...
It's just a complicated play. It's beautiful characters.
You know, I don't want to... You know, what you believe is what you believe. And
I appreciate that.
No, really. And, you know, it's not for me to say. I just want to know, that scene at the third act, what you're talking about when you're there, why are you there? Why are you there at that moment saying what you were saying?
At that moment, I wanted to feel something as Roberta so badly that I coerced this broken effing dude to come home with me so that I can have it for just a minute, just to escape my insane reality and just feel good for a moment. And he's there, and he's in my place, and the light's up, sun's come up, and it's exposing what I've done. And I don't feel I deserve to be happy, and I don't deserve to feel loved. Or
why don't you feel that? You deserve to be happy. Why?
You know this play. She's done things in her past that she has held herself terribly, terribly, painfully accountable for, and kept herself in this emotional prison where she feels like she just can't pay a penance enough and be miserable enough to make it okay. And now the light's up, and it's shining on this thing that she's done for herself to feel good, and she feels guilty as hell, and she doesn't deserve it. And it's got to go away, because that pain defines her. It's who she is. This is how she's made her world. And there comes Danny, emotionally and mentally fighting into her world. No fists.
Right.
Just saying, I love you, and this could work, and it could work if you wanted to. And she's going, what the hell is going on? You know, that idea just blows her mind.
When you no fist the fighting, isn't it more emotional fighting?
Tremendous emotional fighting. The worst kind, because it gets you.
Right.
You can't get away from it.
Right.
It's personal.
And it feels good, too.
It feels good. Scary for Roberta.
Yes, that's what I mean. This pain feels good.
Yeah.
It's like sometimes when I take a shower and my back is itching, I'll just turn the water. It's hot.
Yeah.
And for a second it'll
like
burn.
Like a painful massage.
Yeah, and then it feels good.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and that's a good analogy, because she's got to, literally, those words that he says to her, I love you, and all these things, burn her. They're like acid on her skin to hear these things. Like, what are you saying? I could be happy and I'm beautiful and you like my nose, and what the hell? What is this, you know?
Yeah.
God, such a beautiful.
It is that and then it feels good. But it's that pain, you know. So to me, it's a love story. You know, most everything that I find in the theater or in movies, really, when I learned, and this is not coming from me, this is coming from people like Salome Jens, Martin Landau, Shelley Winters, Arthur Penn. You go on and on at Actors Studio. This is what I was led to believe and taught, that it is a love story. And when I ask you, at that moment, what do you want? It is something like Salome Jens is always talking about. At that moment, yes, but it must be really big.
Huge.
Really big and life or death.
Yes.
Moment.
In every moment, it's life or death. And
yes.
It's in play, for sure.
As an actor, yes, and especially in opera where everybody's dying.
Well, they die. Yeah. In opera, they die. Somebody's dying. There's incest, adultery. It's awesome.
Everything.
You know?
But it's so beautiful.
But see, that's the method that I like. When you say, okay, this, me, Roberta, me, it's Lisa. This is life or death. Whatever I do in this scene, this is life or death. This matters.
Right.
And I got to make every moment of this matter and mean something. That's how it becomes believable to me, and then ultimately to you and whoever's watching.
Right. It's that. Yeah. That's it. And then I love the idea that you keep calling yourself by the character. So many actors, you know, you'll hear it. When I play that role, that character, it's not. It's I.
You were cast. It's you.
It's I. Yes.
Yeah.
And it's always. It's been pointed out so many times that, you know, when I'm at the studio or wherever, when even actor studio members do that at times, and it's pointed out to them. And I know you were going to be auditioning soon for that. And
with
I really, you know, for actor studio, which I hope you know, I got a feeling you'll make it. Oh, you did bring me a picture and resume, I hope.
I did. I did not forget that.
And a little note, because up there, Helen, my lovely. She'll be a member, right?
Ciao, ciao. I actually look forward to meeting you. You're very kind to me on the phone. So
she's a very kind person. Yeah. It's one of the. She runs the studio. She's a gift. She really is a gift to the studio. And I'm going to stop now because we want to go into part 2, and I want to hear a little bit of your voice while we turn this down. That was really lovely what you were saying.
Me nag, I can nag. That's a voice. I am Jewish, you know. I can sit here nagging. That's a voice.
No, I want to hear just a little.
Oh,
what is your favorite song?
My favorite song? Oh, God. It's like asking me my favorite kid. By the way, I'm my dad's favorite kid.
Okay.
What's on my mind today? Porgy and Bess.
Porgy and Bess.
Oh, God, I haven't sung for 12 years. You're horrible. Summertime. Do you know the opera?
Of course we know the Summertime.
We'll do a jazzier version of it then.
I remember, who was it? Go ahead.
We'll talk.
Summertime, and living is easy. Fish are jumping, and the cotton is high. Oh, your daddy's rich, and your ma is good looking. So hush, little baby, don't